White Tiger's Gambit. 1 month after Juri's death, tension filled the air at the White Tiger's headquarters. Mema had received intelligence that Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins were planning to attack them. An emergency meeting was convened, with all important members in attendance. The large room, dimly lit by torches, added to the somber mood. TG, Tiga's younger brother, walked in with confidence and determined eyes. "I will stop Silverback," TG boldly declared. "I can match him." Mema looked thoughtfully at TG, doubt rising in his heart. Although TG was strong, he lacked real combat experience. This confidence could lead to unpredictable consequences. But for now, there were many other options. A new strategy. The White Tiger's defense was deployed in a completely different way from Juri's strategy. Instead of focusing on traps and archery battlefields, Mema decided to use a more flexible strategy, relying on constant movement and the ability to launch surprise ambushes. Central area. In the central area, Mema and the main warriors would stand firm, preparing to confront any intruders directly. They were equipped with light but sturdy armor, enough to withstand bullets and arrows without reducing their flexibility. Outer ring. In the outer ring, sharpshooters and agile warriors were arranged in small groups, moving continuously to avoid revealing their positions. Small shelters were cleverly built, allowing warriors to hide and launch sudden attacks. They used bows, arrows, and pistols, working in harmony to create a dense net of fire to block any enemy from entering. Terrain utilization. Mema also paid special attention to the use of terrain. Small, narrow paths were created to lead the enemy into areas beneficial to the White Tiger. Warriors were trained to use this terrain to their fullest advantage, taking cover behind every mound and bush to hide and attack. Communication system. Finally, a signaling system was established so that groups of warriors could communicate with each other without direct contact. Small beacons and special trumpets were used to convey orders, helping groups coordinate smoothly in all situations. Mema looked around the room, his eyes determined. "We will not let Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins do anything to us. Remember, this is not only a fight for survival, but also for the honor of the White Tiger. We will fight and protect our territory." The meeting ended and everyone quickly dispersed to prepare. Mema watched TG leave, filled with worry. The strategy was in place, but could they cope with the terrible power of Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins? Time would tell. The calm before the storm. The White Tigers prepared for the imminent attack with a sense of urgency. Warriors sharpened their weapons, set up their defenses, and practiced their maneuvers. Mema walked through the camp, offering words of encouragement and making sure everything was in place. TG was among the most determined, practicing his combat techniques tirelessly. He was aware of his brother's legacy and felt the weight of responsibility to live up to Tiga's name. "TG," Mema called, approaching him. "Remember, your strength is important, but so is your strategy. Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment." TG nodded, his expression serious. "I understand, Mema. I won't let you down." The strategy of shadows, Eagle convened a meeting with Silverback and the members of the 10 Great Assassins. Inside the large room, the atmosphere was tense and serious, all eyes focused on Eagle. He stood up, his cold eyes scanning the room. "After 30 days since Juri's death, we have not attacked the gangs as promised. Today we plan to attack the White Tiger." Eagle spoke, his voice quiet but powerful. He paused, his eyes moving from one face to another. "According to intelligence, the White Tiger has detailed plans for their defense. Their defense plan is completely different from Juri's. They will use guns in this plan, even though they are not a species that is typically good with guns." Eagle continued, his voice slow and steady. "One secret that Mema did not want to reveal to his confidants is the presence of snipers. They hide in secret spots. Mema does not want to reveal this information because he fears that it will reach us. This shows his caution and fear of our power." Eagle stood in front of his team, his eyes sharp and determined. "We will not just attack directly. This plan is more complicated, more sophisticated. We will install people into the White Tiger's ranks without being detected and secretly kill the snipers. This is how we will do it." The plan. Eagle began to explain the detailed plan. Phase 1. Infiltration, recruitment and training. Selection. Identify members of the White Tiger species who are dissatisfied with the gang and have a grudge against it. Training. Train these recruits in camouflage, stealth, and adaptation to blend in with the White Tiger's culture and operating style. Preparation. Change their appearance, forge identities, and create fabricated achievements to establish them as new members of the White Tiger gang. Penetration. Integration. The infiltrators will integrate into the White Tiger ranks by participating in daily activities, slowly building trust without raising suspicion. Phase 2. Neutralizing the snipers. Determine locations. Information gathering. After successful infiltration, the infiltrators will gather information about the snipers' locations through casual conversations, observations, and undercover reports. Secret action. Silent elimination. The night before the official attack, infiltrators will approach the snipers' positions stealthily. Assassination techniques. They will use quiet methods such as daggers, strangulation ropes, or tranquilizers to eliminate each sniper without making a sound. Phase 3. Coordinated attack. Attack from within. Creating chaos. After neutralizing the snipers, the infiltrators will create chaos from within by burning weapon depots, causing explosions, and making loud noises to divert attention. Internal assault. They will attack the White Tiger members, causing distractions and preventing them from focusing on defense. Attack from outside. External assault. While the White Tiger is in chaos and distracted by the internal assault, Silverback and the rest of the 10 great assassins will launch a sudden, fierce attack from the outside. Breakthrough. We will break through the White Tiger's ranks and head straight for the headquarters. Expected outcome. Eagle finished his speech, his eyes filled with confidence. In this way, we will not only attack, but completely break through the White Tiger's defenses. We will not give them a chance to resist. Be ready, my warriors. Victory will be ours. The members of the 10 great assassins and Silverback listened and nodded, filled with determination. They knew that this plan required not only strength, but also intelligence and ingenuity. This attack would be a testament to their strength and cunning in the fierce war between gangs. Preparation for infiltration. The process of selecting and training the infiltrators began immediately. They were chosen for their potential to harbor resentment against the White Tigers and their ability to blend in seamlessly. Recruitment and training. Eagle left no detail overlooked. He selected groups of people who excelled in martial arts and hired top training experts to train them intensively for 30 days. Their goal was to become undetectable members of the White Tiger gang. Change appearance. The recruits underwent significant transformations using professional makeup techniques to create completely new looks. High-tech devices were employed to alter their voices and gestures, ensuring they could blend seamlessly into the White Tiger ranks. Create fabricated stories. Each recruit was given a detailed and convincing backstory. One posed as a street fighter seeking refuge after his gang was destroyed, another as a former mercenary looking for a new group after his contract ended. These stories were plotted meticulously to be logical and believable. Forged certificates and skills. The recruits were trained to use fake certificates and demonstrate specific skills valued by the White Tigers, such as shooting, martial arts, and military strategy. They learned how to talk, behave, and act like true warriors of the White Tiger, mastering every detail to avoid suspicion. Penetration. Approach. The recruits began to approach areas where the White Tiger often appeared. They frequented bars, casinos, and underground venues where White Tigers gathered, engaging in conversations, sharing their stories, and gradually building relationships. Prove loyalty. To prove their loyalty, the recruits participated in small missions assigned by the White Tiger. They successfully completed these tasks, from protecting White Tiger territory to participating in attacks on rival gangs. Their excellence and determination caught the attention of Mema and other White Tiger members. Building trust. The recruits did not rush. They slowly built trust. They were always ready to help, present in difficult times, and quick to propose strategies to strengthen the White Tiger forces. They created the impression of being trustworthy, loyal warriors with a common goal. Successful penetration. After a while, the recruits became indispensable parts of the White Tiger. They had penetrated deep into the gang's ranks, gaining knowledge of the defense plans and the snipers' locations. They continued to report this information back to Eagle, preparing for the next phase of the plan. The next phase, execution. With sophistication, intelligence, and determination, Eagle and the 10 great assassins had the perfect warriors to carry out their plan to attack the White Tiger. The next phase would be a daring and dangerous attack. But with careful preparation, they believed victory was within reach. The strain of vigilance. Tension and fatigue enveloped the White Tiger's headquarters. Mima, with his dark eyes and gaunt face, clearly hadn't gotten enough sleep. The meeting took place in a heavy atmosphere, and everyone's eyes showed concern. Constant pressure. The White Tigers were under constant pressure to maintain strict defenses around the clock, pushing every member to the limit. The long shifts without enough rest time made them exhausted. They had to be always ready, not allowed to be negligent for even a second. Non-stop shifts. Members had to take turns being on duty around the clock. Long and continuous shifts made them tired both physically and mentally. Many people began to show signs of exhaustion, but they didn't dare complain for fear of being seen as weak. Physical exhaustion. The continuous shifts wore down their bodies, with muscles aching and stamina depleted. Mental fatigue. The constant state of alertness took a toll on their mental health, causing stress and anxiety. Relentless vigilance. Even during brief moments of rest, they had to be ready to spring into action. Mental pressure. The stress came not only from being on constant duty, but also from the fear of a surprise attack. Everyone knew that Silverback and the 10 great assassins were dangerous enemies, and the silence of the past 3 months had only increased anxiety. Fear of the unknown. The uncertainty of when the next attack would come kept everyone on edge. Paranoia, the constant need to look over their shoulders and trust no one, created an atmosphere of suspicion. Psychological strain. The mental burden of knowing that any moment could be their last led to sleepless nights and frayed nerves. Stressful meeting. During the meeting, the tense atmosphere was clearly visible on every face. When Mema spoke, his voice was full of fatigue, but still tried to remain steadfast. His juniors, although confident in the recruitment process, could not hide their anxiety. Tired eyes. Everyone had tired eyes and haggard faces. Gestures and eyes could not hide the exhaustion after many nights of not getting enough sleep. Physical signs of fatigue. Dark circles under eyes, slouched postures, and slow movements. Emotional weariness. Expressions of frustration and irritability were common. Aging faces. The strain of constant vigilance aged them prematurely, with lines of worry etched deeply into their faces. Permanent concern. Inside their minds, they were always worried about a sudden attack. They didn't know when Silverback and the 10 great assassins would strike, and this added to the tension. Increased paranoia. Even trusted comrades were looked at with suspicion. Constant planning. Repeatedly going over defense strategies, looking for potential weaknesses. Nightmares. Many had vivid dreams of ambushes and battles, robbing them of restful sleep. The dangers of recruitment. Mema and his subordinates all understood that increasing the number of members was necessary, but also a potential risk. They faced the risk of being set up, even though they had thoroughly checked records. Fear of being set up. Despite thorough inspections, Mema could not be completely assured. He knew that the enemy was very sophisticated and could cleverly install people in their ranks. Cunning foes. The White Tigers were aware of the 10 great assassins' reputation for infiltration and deception. Trust issues. Genuine recruits were met with suspicion, making it difficult for them to integrate. Hidden threats. The possibility that any new member could be a spy kept everyone on high alert. Due diligence. Mema required his subordinates to be extremely careful during the recruitment process. Each new member had to be closely supervised so that no mistakes could occur. Thorough vetting, background checks, interviews, and surveillance of new recruits. Close monitoring. New members were watched closely for any suspicious behavior. High standards. Only the most trusted and skilled individuals were accepted into the ranks. The resolve to endure. In that tense atmosphere, everyone understood that they could not be negligent. No matter how tired they were, they still had to maintain high vigilance to protect their gang. fatigue gradually became an inseparable part of their lives, but along with that came the determination to never let the white tiger fall before the enemy. Mima's leadership. Mima's leadership was critical during this time. Despite his own exhaustion, he remained a pillar of strength for his people. Visible strain, his gaunt face and dark eyes reflected the toll the constant pressure was taking on him. Unwavering resolve, he maintained a facade of strength, providing guidance and encouragement. Inspiring loyalty. His determination inspired loyalty and courage among his subordinates. Activate the underground network. The time had come for Silverback and the 10 great assassins to launch their assault on the White Tiger headquarters. The attack would begin when they received a signal from their undercover members, who had infiltrated the White Tiger ranks. With strategic positions under control and snipers neutralized, these undercover operatives began executing the next step in Eagle's plan, causing chaos from within and preparing for the final attack. Network activation. The undercover members communicated with each other via secret signals to activate the network. They used subtle means such as lights, soft sounds, and gestures to communicate without being detected. Light signals, reflections from mirrors or discrete flickers of light, were used to send messages across the compound. Sound cues. Soft taps or unique patterns of noise indicated specific instructions or status updates. Gestures, hand signals, and body language conveyed more complex messages during face-to-face encounters. Internal disruption. Once the network was activated, the undercover members began to cause small but persistent problems that were difficult to resolve. Their goal was to create an environment of chaos and ineffectiveness within the White Tiger headquarters. Small fires. They started minor fires in inconspicuous areas, forcing members to divert their attention to firefighting. Damaging equipment. Essential equipment was subtly sabotaged, causing frequent malfunctions and breakdowns. Jamming communications. The internal communications system was systematically jammed, creating confusion and miscommunication among the White Tiger members. Infrastructure destruction. A key part of the plan was to sabotage the White Tiger's infrastructure. This not only weakened their defenses, but also ensured they could not react in time when the attack officially began. Disable security systems. Undercover members accessed and disabled security systems, such as surveillance cameras, alarms, and security doors. Using high technical skills, they did this discreetly, leaving no trace. Surveillance cameras. Cameras were either disabled or fed false information to blind the security team. Alarms. Alarms were tampered with to prevent them from going off during the attack. Security doors. Electronic locks were hacked, and mechanical ones were jammed to slow down internal movements. Communications jamming. The operatives jammed the White Tiger's communication devices, making information exchange difficult. This created a lack of coordination and reduced effectiveness in deploying defense forces. Signal jammers. Portable jammers were placed strategically to disrupt radio and phone signals. Interference devices. Devices were installed to create static and interference on communication channels. Destruction of supplies. Key supplies such as electricity, water, and food were systematically destroyed. This not only lowered the morale of the White Tiger members, but also caused confusion and instability within the organization. Electricity cutoffs. Power sources were tampered with, leading to blackouts and electrical failures. Water contamination. Water supplies were contaminated or cut off, causing hygiene issues and panic. Food spoilage. Food stocks were sabotaged, leading to shortages and health problems. Tactics of disruption. Eagle's plan did not stop at destroying infrastructure, but also focused on causing psychological disorder and reducing the morale of the White Tiger members. Rumor creation. Undercover members spread rumors about the upcoming demise of the White Tiger, the incompetence of its leaders, and failures in previous wars. This increased skepticism and anxiety among the White Tiger ranks. Incompetence of leaders. Stories of poor decisions and mistakes made by leaders circulate undermine trust. Impending doom. Whispered rumors of inevitable defeat and imminent attacks heightened fear and uncertainty. Inciting internal conflicts. They took advantage of internal discord and conflicts to incite infighting. Arguments and infighting reduced the White Tiger's unity and weakened its defenses. Exacerbating rivalries. Pre-existing rivalries were stoked into full-blown conflicts. Misunderstandings, miscommunications, and suspicions were amplified to create rifts among members. Creating insecurity, undercover members created unsafe situations such as strange noises, shadows moving in the night, and fake signs of an upcoming attack. These tactics made the White Tiger members constantly anxious and stressed. Phantom movements, shadows and noises simulated the presence of an invisible enemy. Fake signs, symbols and messages indicating attacks kept the members on edge, preparing for the attack. While causing chaos from within, the undercover members also prepared the necessary conditions for Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins to enter and attack easily, paving the way for the attack. They identified and marked entrances, safe routes, and weak points in the White Tiger's defense system. This information was secretly transmitted so that the main army could approach quickly and effectively. Mapping weak points. Detailed maps of weak spots and secret passages were created. Marking entrances. Discrete markers indicated the best entry points for the attack force. Neutralizing main forces. They sought to neutralize or weaken the main forces of the White Tiger, including key commanders, to reduce the enemy's ability to command and coordinate. Targeted elimination. Key commanders were isolated and taken out quietly. Command disruption. Efforts were made to disrupt the chain of command and create confusion. Preparing for counterattack. Undercover members prepared counterattack plans and temporary defense measures to respond to any unexpected situation. They ensured everything was ready for the official attack. Defensive positions. Temporary defensive positions were set up to hold off counterattacks. Fallback plans. Plans for retreat and regrouping were established to maintain pressure, creating maximum chaos. The goal of this phase was to create maximum chaos within the White Tiger ranks, making it impossible for them to focus on defense and prepare for the attack by Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins. Fake attacks. They staged fake attacks in various locations within the White Tiger headquarters, causing the defense forces to run around and become exhausted. These attacks were designed to drain resources and reduce the enemy's ability to fight. Diversionary tactics. Multiple small-scale attacks distracted and divided the defense forces. Resource drain. The continuous need to respond to false alarms depleted energy and resources, provoking overreaction. They intentionally created situations that caused the White Tiger to overreact, deploying forces unnecessarily and causing a shortage of forces in critical positions. This increased chaos and reduced the effectiveness of the White Tiger's defense. False alarms. Repeated false alarms led to unnecessary mobilizations. Misleading information, decoy signals, and fake intelligence reports misled the defenders. Mental attack. They used psychological tactics to attack the White Tiger's spirit. Fake messages, symbols, and signs were used to increase panic and distrust within the organization. Psychological warfare. Messages suggesting betrayal or imminent defeat were spread. Symbolic fear. Symbols associated with the 10 Great Assassins were placed in visible locations to instill fear. Initiation of the attack. The bright moonlight shone throughout the White Tiger headquarters, seemingly witnessing another attack about to unfold. Tension prevailed after months of strict precautions. Outside the defense area, Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins were ready, waiting for the signal from the undercover members who had already sown chaos within the White Tiger ranks. Suddenly, from a high point in the headquarters, a light flashed 3 times. The signal had been sent. Silverback, standing on a nearby hill, nodded to his army to prepare. All understood that the plans were in place, and the decisive attack would now begin. Sudden attack. Silverback led the army, his eyes blazing, hands clutching his saber. He took a deep breath and signaled the members to start moving forward. They moved like ghosts, silently approaching the White Tiger's defense area. Inside, the undercover members began implementing the final steps of the plan. They disabled alarm systems, opened doors, and created safe entrances for the troops outside. Small explosions rang out from strategic points, marking the beginning of the attack. Silverback and the 10 Great Assassins suddenly appeared, entering from multiple directions. Gunfire rang out as the White Tiger's gunmen tried to counterattack, but Eagle's preparation and perfect tactics rendered them ineffective. Fierce Battle Silverback, with superior strength, led the charge toward the center of the headquarters. He moved like lightning, his knife cutting down each enemy. The 10 great assassins followed, using their trained skills to take down opponents swiftly and effectively. The battle was fast and furious. Explosions, the clash of swords, and the screams of the wounded created a horrifying scene. Despite the chaos, Silverback and his team maintained their focus, moving step by step to control the entire headquarters. Defense broken. The White Tiger's defense force, though resilient, could not withstand the onslaught. Walls and barriers were broken, and traps neutralized by undercover members who had prepared in advance. Silverback and his army advanced, forcing the enemy into a corner. The snipers, despite their training in strategic deployment, were no match for Silverback's forces. The undercover members snuck behind them, taking them out silently and swiftly, causing the White Tiger's defense to lose crucial support. Face to face with the White Tiger leader. As Silverback's army advanced deeper, they encountered strong resistance from the White Tiger's most loyal followers. A fierce battle broke out in the main courtyard, where Silverback faced Mema and the White Tiger's top commanders. Mema, with his experience and leadership, tried to organize a counterattack. Fateful confrontation. Mema's counterattack crumbled before the fierce onslaught of Silverback and the 10 great assassins. The courtyard of the White Tiger's ruined headquarters, now illuminated by moonlight breaking through dark clouds, bore the scars of battle. Blood stains and scattered bodies marked the scene, and the screams of pain and the clashing of swords had given way to a tense silence. Amid this dire situation, as Mema struggled to withstand the assault, a strong figure appeared from the chaos. "TG," Mema called out, his eyes sparkling with hope upon seeing the young warrior. "Boss, please retreat. I will fight Silverback," TG declared, his voice filled with determination. Mema, understanding the gravity of the situation, nodded and began to step back, giving TG one last trusting look. Turning to Silverback, TG continued, "I will fight you, one-on-one. I will fight for the honor of the White Tiger. The White Tiger will live forever." Silverback signaled the 10 great assassins to retreat, smiling coldly. "Do you have the ability to fight me?" TG did not respond verbally, but launched into an immediate attack with powerful kicks. The fierce confrontation had officially begun. Fierce battle. TG rushed in with incredible speed, throwing lightning-fast kicks and punches. Silverback, with his muscular build and combat experience, dodged TG's attacks with ease. Each of Silverback's punches carried tremendous power, making the air seem to vibrate. TG knew that maintaining speed was crucial. He continuously moved, dodged, and counterattacked. A spinning kick hit Silverback in the chest, causing him to take a step back. Silverback smiled faintly, his eyes cold. "You have some ability, but it's not enough, TG." The balance between speed and power. The battle continued at a breakneck pace. TG leveraged his agility, constantly changing positions and launching attacks from all angles. Silverback, with his outstanding strength, counterattacked at every opportunity, his punches seeming to crush the air around them. A powerful punch from Silverback aimed straight at TG's face. TG dodged, but the force of the blow's wind staggered him. He quickly regained balance and responded with a kick to Silverback's leg, causing Silverback to momentarily lose balance. "You're pretty good, TG," Silverback admitted, feeling a sharp pain in his leg. "But I have not been defeated yet." Tactical transformation. Realizing that pure strength and speed were insufficient against Silverback, TG decided to change tactics. He began using more complex fighting techniques, combining martial arts with surprise attacks. TG rushed in with incredible speed, delivering a spinning kick to Silverback's head. Silverback dodged, but TG followed with a powerful punch to Silverback's stomach, knocking him back several steps. Intense confrontation. The battle continued, neither side willing to give way. Each of TG's attacks was filled with determination and willpower, but Silverback remained steadfast. He dodged and counterattacked with speed and precision. Silverback launched a powerful kick like thunder. TG attempted to dodge and counterattack, but Silverback's strength was overwhelming. Each of Silverback's blows carried immense power, forcing TG into a defensive stance. Despite his fatigue, TG's determination did not wane. With a flexible body and incredible speed, he launched precise and powerful attacks. Silverback, with his expert fighting skills, counterattacked relentlessly, each punch powerful and precise. The decisive moment. The confrontation reached a climax as both fighters pushed their limits. TG's agility and Silverback's strength clashed in a deadly dance. TG aimed a high kick at Silverback's head, which Silverback blocked effortlessly, countering with a devastating punch that sent TG reeling. Struggling to remain on his feet, TG's resolve only grew stronger. He charged at Silverback with a flurry of punches, only for Silverback to counter each blow with brutal efficiency. The ground beneath them seemed to shake with each collision of their fists. TG's exhaustion. Gradually, TG's speed decreased. The kicks that were as fast as the wind at first became slow. Sweat drenched his body, breathing heavily, but TG still did not give up. He knew that he could not lose, could not let White Tiger's honor be tainted. Silverback, noticing TG's weakness, smiled coldly. He launched 2 kicks as strong and fast as a tornado on both sides of TG's head. TG raised his hands to block. He was able to block the first kick, but when he raised his hand to block Silverback's second kick, TG staggered, no longer able to stand. Critical attack. TG felt his vision blur, unable to see clearly. Silverback discovered TG's weakness and immediately delivered a powerful punch to TG's chest. TG quickly raised his hands to block, but the force of the punch was too strong, pushing him back, blood spurting from his mouth. TG, you have reached your limit, Silverback said, his voice filled with authority. Give up, and I will give you a quick death. But TG never gave up. Even though he was exhausted and his eyes were blurred from pain, he still tried to stand up. Every time he fell, he stood up again, his eyes shining with resolve and determination. TG knew that he could not lose, could not let White Tiger's honor be damaged. TG's determination. TG continued to rush at Silverback, even though each step was heavy. He threw punches and kicks with all his remaining strength. Silverback, although admiring TG's fighting spirit, did not hold back. He counterattacked with powerful punches, each blow seeming to crush his opponent. You are honorable, TG, Silverback said, his voice softening somewhat. But I can't let you live. You have chosen this path, and I will complete my destiny. TG didn't respond, using all his remaining strength to throw a punch at Silverback's face. Silverback dodged easily, then responded with a powerful punch to TG's chest. TG was knocked back and fell to the ground. TG's sacrifice. Silverback approached, preparing to deliver the finishing blow. TG looked into Silverback's eyes, showing no fear. He knew that he would die, but he accepted it with pride and dignity. The White Tiger will live forever, TG whispered, before Silverback threw the final punch. Silverback's powerful punch hit TG in the chest, pushing him backward. Blood spurted from his mouth, his eyes gradually blurred. Even in his final moments, TG's eyes still shone with determination. Final memories. In his last moments, TG remembered his time with the White Tiger, the times he fought and trained with his teammates. He remembered his oath to protect the White Tiger's honor, and knew that he had done everything he could to fulfill that oath. TG had no regrets. He fought to the end, maintaining the pride and honor of the White Tiger. No matter how this war ended, he knew that he did the right thing and lived and died with pride. Heroic death. Silverback looked down at TG's motionless body, feeling his opponent's determination and pride. Even though he defeated TG, he couldn't help but admire this warrior's fighting spirit to the end. You fought bravely, TG, Silverback said, his voice laced with respect. I will remember you as a worthy opponent. But whatever Silverback's praise meant, TG was no longer listening. He was gone, but his honor and pride still lived on in the hearts of his teammates. TG died, but his spirit would forever be an inspiration to the warriors of the White Tiger. Continuity news of TG's death quickly spread among the ranks of the White Tiger. His courageous sacrifice not only saddened them, but also lit a fire of determination in each person's heart. We will never forget TG, a White Tiger warrior said, his voice filled with emotion. He sacrificed himself for us, for the honor of the White Tiger. We will continue to fight, so that his honor is forever protected. Immortal spirit TG's sacrifice became a symbol of steadfastness and determination. The warriors of the White Tiger, no matter how difficult and dangerous their encounters, remembered TG and used his memory as inspiration to continue fighting. TG will live forever in our hearts, another warrior said, his eyes shining with determination. We will fight, not only for the White Tiger's honor, but also for TG's indomitable spirit. Legacy of sacrifice, Silverback, even as an enemy, could not deny TG's pride and fighting spirit. The war had ended, but TG's spirit still lived on, becoming the guiding light for the White Tiger warriors. TG's death at the hands of Silverback was not a failure. It was a testament to steadfastness and indomitable will. TG fought to the end, showing no signs of fear, and died for the honor of the White Tiger. His sacrifice not only saddened his teammates, but also lit a fire of determination in their hearts. TG's spirit would forever live in the hearts of the White Tiger warriors, becoming a source of inspiration and motivation for them to continue fighting for honor and pride.